Hi Guy, tonight we journey to the snow-covered peak of Mount Hiei in ancient Japan, a place of serenity and shadows. You probably won't survive this, but you might find peace instead. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The piercing wind howls across the snow-covered landscape as you trudge through knee-deep drifts, your breath misting in the frigid air. The scent of pine and snow fills your lungs, sharp and clean, a stark contrast to the damp chill that seeps into your bones. Each step is a struggle, your legs burning with the effort, the weight of your imagined burdens pressing down. The silence is broken only by the relentless wind and the crunch of snow underfoot. Above, the sky is a vast, inky canvas, speckled with the icy glitter of countless stars. The air is thin, almost painfully so, and you gasp for each breath, your lungs aching with the exertion. Ahead, barely visible through the swirling snow, is the faintest glow, the warm, inviting light of lanterns. They beckon you forward, promising warmth and respite from the unforgiving elements. As you draw closer, the source of the light reveals itself. A newly consecrated temple, nestled amongst the ancient cedar trees, its wooden structure seemingly carved from the very mountain itself. It stands defiant against the raging storm, a beacon of peace in a world consumed by icy winds and shadows. This is Mount Hiei, a sacred mountain overlooking the ancient capital of Kyoto. For centuries, it has been a place of both profound spirituality and formidable power. It's home to Enryaku-ji Temple, a sprawling complex that once served as the most significant center of Buddhist power during the samurai period. Imagine the scene. Hundreds of monks, their saffron robes blending with the snow, their chanting voices carried on the wind. These weren't simply men of prayer. They were political players wielding immense influence over the affairs of Japan. Their word could shape alliances, influence emperors, and even determine the fate of entire armies. Their presence on this isolated peak gave them an aura of untouchability, a mystique that bolstered their power and cemented their position as spiritual and political leaders. They controlled vast land holdings, amassed considerable wealth, and formed intricate networks of power that reached into the highest echelons of Japanese society. But their influence was not without controversy. That's where the scholarly debate comes in. Historians still argue about the true nature of the Hiei monks' power. Were they benevolent guardians of the faith, guiding Japan towards enlightenment and peace? Or did they use their position to manipulate and coerce, consolidating power through intimidation and political maneuvering? The historical record presents a complex picture, with evidence pointing to both sides of this argument. Accounts of their charitable works and contributions to the arts sit alongside tales of their ruthless ambition and involvement in bloody conflicts. The truth, as with many historical events, likely lies somewhere in the gray area between these extremes. The image of peaceful monks meditating amid snowy peaks coexists with the chilling reality of their involvement in the power struggles of a turbulent era. And then there are the whispers, the legends that cling to the mountain like the clinging snow itself. They speak of restless spirits, of fallen samurai and monks whose souls remain tethered to this sacred ground. Legend says that the mountain itself is haunted, echoing with the cries of the dead, the clash of steel, and the mournful chants of monks lost to the ages. These spectral figures are said to wander the icy paths, their presence felt more than seen, their stories whispered on the wind. Some say they are the souls of those who died defending the temple, their loyalty enduring even in death. Others claim they are the spirits of those who fell victim to the monks' ruthless ambition, their resentment fueling their eternal wanderings. These whispers add another layer to the mountain's enigmatic allure, a chilling counterpoint to the serene beauty of the landscape. The very air seems to hum with their unseen presence, adding a subtle layer of unease to the already breathtaking scenery. The rustling of the wind through the ancient pines could be the sigh of a lost soul, the distant creak of branches, the groan of a tormented spirit. As you stand before the temple, the faint light of its lanterns casting long, dancing shadows on the snow, you feel a shiver run down your spine. It's not just the cold. It's the palpable sense of history, of centuries of power and spiritual devotion, of ghostly whispers and ancient secrets. It's the weight of the mountain itself, its silent witness to countless lives lived and lost. Mount Hiei, a place of profound beauty, undeniable power, and chilling legends, a place that promises both peace and peril. And as you step inside, seeking refuge from the storm, you know your journey has only just begun. The whispers of the mountain still linger, urging you to delve deeper into its history, its secrets, and its haunting beauty. The snow continues to fall, blanketing the world in a pristine, silent shroud. But beneath the surface the mountain breathes, its stories still waiting to be uncovered. The air hung crisp and cold, a biting wind whispering through the skeletal branches of the ancient cedars that ringed the mountain. Below, nestled in the valley, the newly constructed temple stood silhouetted against the fading light, its wooden beams gleaming faintly in the twilight. A sea of faces, bundled in thick furs against the encroaching winter, gathered around its perimeter. The villagers, their breath misting in the frigid air, formed a silent, expectant circle, their faces illuminated by the warm, flickering glow of hundreds of paper lanterns. Hope and apprehension were etched onto their features in equal measure. Hope for the blessings this new temple promised, apprehension about the unknown future it represented. The lanterns cast long, dancing shadows that played across their worn faces, creating an ethereal, almost spectral atmosphere. Their murmured prayers and hushed conversations were carried away on the wind, swallowed by the vastness of the mountain. A small, almost imperceptible tremor ran through the crowd. It wasn't the wind. It was a shared, collective breath held in anticipation. The moment of consecration was at hand. The air crackled with unseen energy, a palpable tension that tightened the muscles in my own chest. I watched, mesmerized, as figures moved within the temple's shadowed interior, preparing for the sacred rites. In the heart of the activity, I noticed her. A woman, her face obscured by the shadows, but her nimble fingers working with a practiced grace that commanded attention. She was the scroll binder, a woman of quiet dignity whose role was as crucial to this ceremony as the high priest himself. With meticulous care, she tied silken cords around a beautifully crafted sutra, its gold lettering catching the lantern light. Her movements were as fluid and precise as the falling snow, each knot tied with the precision of a master craftsman, each strand of silk a testament to her devotion. The sutra, a repository of centuries of religious teachings, was more than just a text. It was a physical embodiment of the faith that bound this community together. The gentle rhythmic sound of silk against silk provided a calming counterpoint to the low hum of anticipation that emanated from the crowd. The consecration of a new temple was, I knew, a truly momentous event in feudal Japan. It was a significant undertaking, demanding not only immense spiritual preparation but also considerable material resources and manpower. This temple, perched precariously on the mountainside, represented a substantial investment for this small, isolated village. The elaborate ceremonies, the painstaking construction, the meticulous ornamentation, all reflected the immense importance placed upon the sacred space and its connection to the divine. The cost, in terms of both resources and labor, was staggering, a testament to the depth of their faith and the vital role religion played in their lives. A hushed whisper snaked through the crowd, a story passed from ear to ear, fueled by years of legend and folklore. The temple's foundation, it was said, rested upon a sacred spring hidden deep within the mountain's heart. This wasn't just a simple spring, mind you. This spring was believed to hold a mystical power, a vital link to the spirits of the land. And guarding this sacred spring, according to local lore, was a kappa, a mischievous water spirit known for its fondness for tricks and its uncanny ability to manipulate water. The whimsical notion of a kappa guarding the temple's very foundations served as a potent reminder of the blurred lines between the sacred and the surreal, a common element in the beliefs of the people. The whispers sparked a lively discussion amongst those around me. The debate, while hushed, was intense. Were the kappa stories simply whimsical folklore, entertaining campfire tales meant to frighten children? Or did these stories contain a deeper truth, an acknowledgement of the inexplicable forces that shaped their world? The stories, I realized, highlighted the complex relationship between fact and faith, a dynamic that remains fascinating to scholars to this day. This conversation brought me back to a larger scholarly debate that continues to fascinate and perplex historians: the degree of religious syncretism prevalent during the samurai period. To what extent did indigenous Shinto beliefs blend seamlessly with the tenets of imported Buddhism? Were the two belief systems ultimately compatible, or did they exist as separate, though interacting, entities? This question is far from settled. The careful preservation of the sutra, the reverence shown for the sacred spring, the persistent Kappa legends, all pointed to a complex interplay of indigenous and foreign religious practices, a tapestry woven from diverse threads of belief. Some historians argue for a relatively fluid merging of faiths, a natural assimilation of spiritual concepts. Others maintain a sharper distinction, highlighting the enduring power of Shinto traditions even amidst the rise of Buddhism. The very existence of this temple, a harmonious blend of architectural styles and religious iconography, suggested a far more nuanced picture than simple dichotomy. It embodied the inherent complexities of religious evolution, highlighting the seamless blend of faiths within this isolated village. The villagers themselves seemed to live seamlessly within this blended reality. Their faith, I observed, wasn't a matter of rigid adherence to a specific doctrine. It was a rich tapestry of beliefs, a deeply personal and interwoven spiritual experience. The night air grew colder, but the warmth of their faith radiated out into the mountain air, warming me as much as the flickering lanterns. The ceremony was about to begin. The wind whipped around me, a swirling vortex of icy air carrying with it the faint, almost ethereal murmur of prayers and chants. Stepping across the threshold of the newly consecrated temple, I felt an immediate shift in atmosphere. The outside world, with its blustering wind and restless energy, seemed to fall away. Inside, the air hung heavy and still, thick with the cloying sweetness of incense. The scent, though initially overwhelming, soon settled into a strangely calming presence, a fragrant balm soothing my anxieties. Lanterns cast a warm, flickering glow across the interior, their light struggling to pierce the pervasive shadows that clung to the corners of the vast hall. Even in this dim light, however, the exquisite detail of the temple's carvings was breathtaking. Intricate scenes from Buddhist mythology adorned every surface. Serene Buddhas in deep meditation, fierce guardians with snarling visages, and epic battles between celestial beings and demons. The skill of the artisans who had created these works was evident in every flowing line, every meticulously rendered detail. The smooth, polished wood seemed to hum with a quiet energy, whispering tales of devotion and faith that spanned centuries. I ran a gloved hand along a particularly striking carving of a dragon, feeling the cool smoothness beneath my fingertips, and marveling at the way the artist had captured the creature's power and grace. This temple, like so many others during the tumultuous samurai period, was more than just a place of worship. Its very structure spoke of a complex intertwining of faith and military might. The thick, sturdy walls, the strategically placed windows, the almost fortress-like architecture, all testified to its dual purpose. This was not merely a sanctuary for prayer, it was a bulwark against potential threats, a testament to the symbiotic relationship between religion and the burgeoning power of the warrior class. The peaceful serenity of the Buddha statues stood in quiet contrast to the implied strength of the building's defensive capabilities, a tangible representation of the era's unsettling duality. The temple's very existence served as a reminder of the precarious balance between spiritual devotion and the ever-present reality of conflict. A monk, noticing my absorbed contemplation, approached with a gentle smile. He gestured towards a particularly striking scroll, its calligraphy executed with a precision that bordered on the miraculous. "The ink," he explained in a low, resonant voice, "is made from a rare black mushroom, found only on the slopes of Mount Hiei." This quirky fact, this seemingly insignificant detail, further emphasized the temple's unique status. The very materials used in its creation were imbued with an air of exclusivity and importance, reflecting the meticulous nature of its construction and the reverence held for its purpose. The rarity of the ink, the monk continued, was a testament to the temple's sacred status and the considerable resources dedicated to its upkeep. Later, as I sat meditating in a quieter corner of the temple, I found my thoughts drifting to the larger historical context. The monk's words sparked a contemplation of the rise of the samurai, a topic that continues to fuel scholarly debate. Historians still grapple with the precise factors that led to their ascendancy. Was it the simple weakening of the central government, leaving a power vacuum that the ambitious samurai readily filled? Or were there other, more nuanced forces at play? Economic shifts? Social unrest? The complex interplay of these factors, woven into the very fabric of the era, is a subject of ongoing study and intense discussion. The temple, in its silent strength, seemed to stand as a witness to this historical unfolding, a physical embodiment of the period's enduring contradictions. Its walls held secrets, both sacred and secular, whispering stories of faith and conflict, of devotion and power, of the enduring mysteries that shape the human story. The incense, still fragrant in the air, seemed to linger, a comforting reminder of the enduring questions that continue to challenge our understanding of the past. The air, thick with the scent of roasted boar and sake, suddenly thinned. Laughter died on the villagers' lips, replaced by a hush so profound it felt physical, a tangible weight pressing down on the celebratory gathering. The rhythmic clang of sake cups against wooden tables ceased. Children, moments before squealing with delight, stood frozen, their eyes wide. Even the crackling bonfire seemed to hold its breath. A tense silence, heavy with unspoken apprehension, settled over the scene. It wasn't the silence of peaceful contemplation. It was the silence before a storm. Then, a faint sound cut through the stillness. The rhythmic thud of approaching horses. A staccato beat against the backdrop of the unnatural quiet. The sound grew steadily louder. Each beat a hammer blow against the fragile peace. Heads turned. Faces pale, with a mixture of fear and grim determination. Whispers, hushed and urgent, rippled through the crowd, conveying a shared understanding of impending danger. The joyous celebration was dissolving into a stark awareness of the harsh realities of their world. This unspoken dread wasn't unfounded. The samurai period, a time of both breathtaking artistry and brutal violence, was characterized by almost constant conflict. Rival clans, fueled by ambition and ancient grudges, clashed repeatedly in a seemingly endless cycle of bloodshed. Powerful warlords, vying for control of land and resources, waged war with ruthless efficiency, leaving trails of devastation in their wake. The idealized image of the honorable samurai often masked a reality of merciless fighting, treachery, and relentless ambition. Feudal Japan, for all its apparent order and structure, was a land frequently ravaged by conflict, a landscape scarred by the relentless march of armies and the constant threat of violence. The seemingly idyllic village was, in truth, a fragile oasis in a sea of instability. The approaching horsemen, their identities yet unknown, served as a stark reminder of this uncomfortable truth. They were a tangible manifestation of the ever-present threat, a symbol of the violence that could shatter the fragile peace at any moment. The villagers' apprehension wasn't merely fear of the unknown. It stemmed from a deep, ingrained understanding of the volatile nature of their society, a society perpetually on the brink of chaos. This was a world where the peaceful rhythms of village life could be shattered without warning, replaced by the brutal reality of warfare. But the villagers were not merely passive victims. Generations of living under the shadow of conflict had instilled in them a resilience, a practicality that went beyond simple survival. And it wasn't just brute force that defined the period. Some samurai, for example, possessed a surprising level of sophistication in their understanding of the natural world. While renowned for their swordsmanship and martial prowess, some warriors employed unique methods to predict weather patterns, crucial for planning military campaigns. They carefully observed animal behavior, noting the migratory patterns of birds, the restlessness of livestock, and the subtle shifts in the winds. These observations, combined with a keen understanding of celestial phenomena, allowed them to anticipate changes in the weather with remarkable accuracy. This wasn't merely superstition. It was a practical application of observational skills, a testament to the interwoven nature of military strategy and environmental awareness in the samurai era. This blend of brutality and unexpected nuance reflects the complexity of the period, a complexity that continues to fascinate and challenge historians to this day. One area of ongoing scholarly debate centers on the nature of Japanese feudal society and the extent to which it was truly meritocratic. Did ability and talent genuinely determine one's social standing? Or did birth and lineage hold a far greater sway? While some historians point to examples of individuals rising through the ranks based on merit, others emphasize the entrenched power of hereditary nobility and the significant advantages enjoyed by those born into influential families. The evidence is multifaceted and open to interpretation, leading to ongoing scholarly discussion and disagreement. The question of whether a peasant could realistically aspire to the rank of samurai remains a topic of intense academic debate, a testament to the enduring complexities of understanding social mobility in feudal Japan. The rhythmic thud of horses' hooves grew closer, the tension in the village palpable. The whispers intensified, speculations swirling around the identities of the approaching riders. Were they friendly travelers or harbingers of conflict? The answer, shrouded in the gathering dusk, hung heavy in the air, a chilling premonition of the uncertainty that defined life in the shadow of the samurai sword. The celebration was over, replaced by a stark awareness of the ever-present threat, a reminder of the violent instability that permeated the very fabric of their existence. The whispers of conflict had become a roar. A lone figure, a samurai, stepped into the temple courtyard. The flickering lantern light, casting long, dancing shadows across the ancient stones, barely illuminated his armor. It gleamed faintly, a muted silver in the gloom, hinting at a craftsmanship as meticulous as the temple itself. His helmet, a dark, imposing presence, completely obscured his features. Yet, even shrouded in shadow and steel, a deep sadness seemed to emanate from him, a palpable weight in the still night air. The silence was broken only by the soft whisper of the wind rustling through the bamboo grove bordering the courtyard. My eyes, drawn by an instinct I couldn't explain, fell to the intricately designed scabbard at his hip. It wasn't merely a functional sheath. It was a work of art. The metal, subtly gleaming even in the dim light, was adorned with a pattern so delicate and precise it seemed almost impossible to have been wrought by human hands. The curves flowed seamlessly, telling a silent story of a master swordsmith's dedication and skill. The scabbard itself hinted at the weapon it contained, a katana of exceptional quality, undoubtedly a family heirloom passed down through generations of warriors. This was not the simple equipment of a common soldier. This was the hallmark of a samurai of high standing, perhaps even of noble birth. The samurai remained motionless for a long moment, his silhouette stark against the lantern's glow. He was the embodiment of the warrior class that had once shaped Japan, the samurai. A class bound by a rigid code of conduct, Bushido, the way of the warrior. This was a philosophy that dictated not only their battlefield prowess, but also their moral compass, a strict regimen that governed their lives from birth to death. Loyalty, honor, courage, and self-sacrifice were its cornerstones. They were expected to be masters of their craft, not only in swordsmanship, but also in calligraphy, poetry, and the arts. The samurai were more than just soldiers. They were the guardians of a nation, upholders of a moral code that permeated every aspect of their existence. Yet, the stillness of the samurai hinted at something more than the quiet dignity often associated with the samurai. This was a sadness that ran deeper than any battlefield loss, a sorrow etched into his very being. It was the weight of history, perhaps, the echoes of a past that still held him captive. This somber figure stood as a testament to the complexities of a warrior's life, the burdens of honor and duty. The intricacies of the samurai's scabbard reminded me of the unique styles and adornments that distinguished certain samurai families. While the code of Bushido was supposed to transcend personal identity, subtle signs of family pride and heritage were displayed in these very details. A specific knot tied to the scabbard, the unique metalwork, even the subtle variations in the shape of the scabbard itself, these were all markers that could identify a warrior's lineage and clan affiliation at a glance. The silent language, understood only by those within the warrior class, allowing for instantaneous identification and recognition amongst a group of seemingly identical figures, all clad in similar armor. These small details, often overlooked, were crucial elements of samurai society, distinguishing families who often played critical roles in the political landscape. But the nature of Bushido itself is a subject of ongoing scholarly debate. Was it a universally adhered to code, as strictly enforced as some historical accounts suggest, or was it a more flexible set of ideals, adaptable to circumstance and personal interpretation? Historians continue to grapple with this question. Some argue that the romanticized image of the self-sacrificing, stoic warrior is a later invention, shaped by post-samurai romanticization and propaganda. They point to inconsistencies in historical records, suggesting that the actual adherence to Bushido varied greatly amongst individual samurai and across different periods. Others maintain that despite the inevitable variations in practice, a core set of values did underpin samurai conduct. They cite examples of samurai unwavering loyalty and adherence to their oaths, even in the face of death, as undeniable evidence of a deeply ingrained code. The truth, it seems, lies somewhere in the gray area between these two extremes. Perhaps Bushido was less a rigidly codified set of rules and more a dynamic, evolving ideal, adapting to the ever-changing realities of Japanese society, as flexible as the wind itself, yet as constant as the mountains which bordered their ancient homeland. The samurai remained silent, his shadowed face giving nothing away. His stillness seemed to amplify the weight of these historical and philosophical debates. He was not just a figure from the past, he was a living embodiment of the contradictions and complexities inherent in the samurai ethos. He stood as a testament to the enduring fascination with the warrior class, a timeless symbol of a culture forever captivated by the blade and the ideals it represented. A testament to both the glory and the tragedy that was the life of a samurai. The flickering lantern light continued to dance across the courtyard, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch into the past, into the very heart of the samurai's silent sorrow. The wind sighed through the bamboo, a mournful counterpoint to the stillness of the warrior, the unanswered questions hovering between them like ghosts. The wind, a relentless sculptor, clawed at the flimsy paper lanterns illuminating the courtyard, their fragile light flickering in the gusts. The scent of snow, crisp and biting, filled the air, a stark contrast to the heavy, metallic tang of blood that hung faintly in the stillness between the wind's furious bursts. In the distance, beyond the protective walls of the encampment, the rhythmic clang of steel on steel echoed, a discordant symphony, hinting at a conflict brewing beyond our immediate reach. A storm was gathering. I felt it in the icy grip of the wind, in the tension that coiled tight in the air, a storm both literal and meteorological, a brewing tempest of violence and uncertainty. My gaze drifted to Kenji, a samurai of the Hoshi clan, his posture as rigid and unyielding as the ancient stone walls surrounding us. He stood motionless, a statue carved from shadow and moonlight, his hand slowly, deliberately, drawing his katana from its scabbard. The polished steel of the blade gleamed, a mirror reflecting the unsteady lantern light, highlighting the intricate carvings etched into its surface. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a work of art, a testament to the dedication and skill poured into its creation, a deadly extension of its wielder's will. The blade's sharpness was evident even from this distance, a chilling promise of swift and decisive action. The very air seemed to hum with the potential energy contained within that honed steel. Kenji, like all samurai, was a product of rigorous training, a lifetime dedicated to the mastery of the sword. From a tender age, they were schooled in the arts of war, their bodies molded into instruments of precision and lethality. Their swordsmanship wasn't merely a physical skill, it was a philosophy, a way of life, encompassing not only technique, but also discipline, honor, and unwavering dedication. Each movement, each stance, carried the weight of generations of honed expertise, a legacy forged in countless battles, and passed down through meticulous instruction. Their weapons weren't merely tools. They were extensions of their souls, painstakingly crafted masterpieces reflecting both the artisan's skill and the samurai's unwavering devotion to their craft. The intricate detail, etched into Kenji's blade, the balance and weight perfectly calibrated, spoke volumes of this rigorous dedication. Around his neck, barely visible beneath his armor, I noticed a small, intricately carved amulet. A charm, perhaps? A silent prayer woven into steel and jade, a testament to the samurai's complex belief system. It wasn't enough to rely solely on their impeccable training. The samurai also placed their faith in spiritual protection, supplementing their skill with a belief in supernatural forces. This amulet, a small but significant detail, provided a glimpse into their faith, a blend of rational pragmatism and mystical belief. A testament to the human need for both physical and spiritual security in the face of impending danger. These charms, imbued with various meanings and powers, represented a hope for divine assistance, a belief that fate itself could be swayed by faith and prayer. The clashing steel in the distance intensified, drawing our attention back to the approaching conflict. The rhythmic clang became more chaotic, more urgent, signaling a shift in the tide of battle. The approaching storm, both literal and figurative, seemed to gain momentum. The silence in the courtyard felt heavy, expectant. The subtle tension among the waiting samurai was palpable. Their unwavering discipline hid the uncertainty that must have simmered beneath their calm exteriors. Even now, centuries later, historians continue to debate the efficacy of samurai tactics. Were their victories due to an undeniable superiority in skill and training, or were they, at least in part, the result of fortunate circumstances, of opportune moments and strategic advantages? The answer, it seems, remains elusive. Some scholars focus on the rigorous training and disciplined formations, emphasizing the samurai's meticulous planning and mastery of battlefield tactics. Others point to the often overlooked aspects of geography, resource availability, and the political landscape that undeniably shaped the outcome of many battles. The legacy of the samurai remains a rich and complex tapestry, woven with threads of exceptional skill and undeniable luck, a testament to both human capability and the unpredictable nature of war. The debate continues, a testament to the enduring fascination with these legendary warriors, their triumphs, and their tragic flaws. Their story, like their swords, remains a sharp and enduring legacy. The night, heavy with the scent of snow and the metallic tang of impending conflict, held its breath. The storm was coming. The air vibrated. It wasn't just a tremor, a subtle shift in the earth. It was a physical pressure, a wave of sound crashing over me, pushing me back against the icy smoothness of the temple wall. The sound of battle. It swelled, a monstrous symphony of chaos, growing louder with every heartbeat. The clang of steel on steel, a relentless percussion that hammered against my eardrums, was punctuated by the high-pitched shrieks of men, a chilling counterpoint to the thunderous rhythm of hooves pounding on the frozen ground. My breath hitched in my throat, a cold knot of fear tightening in my chest. I was trapped, pressed against this unforgiving stone, a silent observer to a brutal ballet of death unfolding just beyond the crumbling walls. Through the cracks in the aged stone, I caught glimpses of the carnage. Flashes of moonlight illuminated the scene, painting the swirling snow in shades of silver and gray. Samurai, clad in armor that glinted like obsidian shards under the pale light, clashed in a whirlwind of steel. Swords flashed, a deadly dance of light and shadow carving bloody paths through the snow. Each strike was a brutal testament to the ferocity of these warriors, each parry a desperate gamble for survival. The battlefield was a maelstrom of motion, a chaotic ballet of death where skill and brutality were inextricably intertwined. The beauty of the scene, the elegant, almost balletic movements of the warriors amidst the falling snow, was cruelly juxtaposed with the horrific reality of the bloodshed. Men fell, their bodies crumpling into the pristine white landscape, staining the snow a crimson that stood out starkly against the moonlit night. It was a scene of breathtaking horror, both horrifying and strangely beautiful in its terrible symmetry. The battles of the samurai period were notoriously brutal, a stark contrast to the romanticized image often presented. These were not glorious duels of honor, but savage, bloody affairs where the objective was utter annihilation. Samurai were trained from childhood for war. Their lives were intrinsically bound to the sword, their existence defined by the constant threat of violence. They were expected to fight bravely, to face death without flinching, to uphold the Bushido Code, a rigid and often unforgiving code of conduct that demanded absolute loyalty, unwavering courage, and unquestioning obedience. The very air crackled with their ferocity, a palpable energy born of years of training and a life lived on the razor's edge. The screams of the dying, the grunts of exertion, the metallic shriek of clashing steel, all spoke of a reality far removed from any idealized notions of martial prowess. Even before the first sword clashed, the air was thick with tension, a palpable atmosphere of dread. I could almost hear the faint echo of the drums, a rhythmic pulse that would have served to both unify the samurai ranks and to instill fear in their opponents. The use of psychological warfare was commonplace. The unsettling war cries, the intimidating display of strength, these tactics aimed to break the enemy's spirit before the first blow was even struck. The rhythmic beating of the war drums, coupled with the eerie cries of the warriors, would have created an atmosphere of dread, sowing seeds of doubt and panic in the hearts of the enemy, preparing them for defeat before a single sword was drawn. This was a war fought not only on the battlefield, but also in the minds of the combatants. The hushed whispers of the temple walls couldn't quite mask the brutal reality of what I witnessed. This glimpse into the heart of a samurai battle left me pondering another aspect, one shrouded in scholarly debate: the role of women in samurai society. Were they truly confined to the domestic sphere, or did they wield a hidden influence, participating in clan affairs in ways that history hasn't fully illuminated? The traditional narrative portrays them as primarily caregivers and homemakers, but recent scholarship suggests a more nuanced picture. Historians are divided, with some arguing that women played significant roles in managing family estates, providing strategic advice, and even participating in combat, though perhaps less openly than the men. Evidence of women's involvement in leadership positions, in diplomatic missions, and even in clandestine military operations slowly emerges from fragmented records and reinterpretations of historical accounts. The full extent of their influence, however, remains elusive, lost to time and the patriarchal biases of historical documentation. The question of their true role within this fiercely masculine world remains a subject of ongoing discussion and research, a puzzle that continues to challenge scholars even centuries later. This very question added another layer of complexity to the brutal landscape unfolding before me, a silent testament to the untold stories buried beneath the blood and snow. The echoes of the battle, in its brutality and its mysteries, lingered long after the sounds faded, leaving me in a state of profound unease and morbid fascination. The clang of steel, the guttural cries of men, the desperate scrabbling for purchase on the snow-slicked ground, all faded into an unsettling quiet. The battle, a maelstrom of violence just moments ago, had retreated, leaving behind a chilling stillness. A heavy silence descended, broken only by the soft sigh of the wind whispering through the skeletal branches of the pine trees clinging to the temple grounds. The air, thick with the metallic tang of blood, carried the sharp, clean scent of freshly fallen snow. It was a paradoxical blend of life and death, violence and serenity. Leaning heavily against the weathered gray stone of the temple wall, a lone samurai stood, his breath misting in the frigid air. His katana, still warm from the recent struggle, was sheathed at his hip, the scabbard slightly askew, mirroring the uneven rhythm of his own ragged breathing. His armor, once pristine, was now marred by rents and stains, testament to the brutal dance of death he had just endured. Blood, both his own and that of his enemies, crusted on the polished steel and stained the white fabric beneath. Yet despite the visible toll of the battle, a flicker of indomitable determination burned within his eyes, a spark refusing to be extinguished by exhaustion or injury. He was wounded, perhaps gravely so, but he stood. He lived. He moved, slowly, deliberately, his every motion a testament to the discipline honed over years of rigorous training. He reached for a small, well-worn pouch, secured to his belt. Inside, nestled amongst carefully folded cloths, were bandages, herbs, and a small, sharp knife. Attending to one's wounds was as much a part of the samurai's duty as wielding the blade itself. It was a ritualistic act, a quiet acknowledgement of survival, of the need to heal the body as well as the spirit, to prepare for the next conflict, the next challenge. With practiced hands, he cleaned and dressed his wounds, the grim work punctuated only by the occasional hiss of pain. But the tending of his own injuries was not enough. He surveyed the snow-covered ground, his gaze falling upon the fallen, both friend and foe. The obligation to honor the dead, to acknowledge their sacrifice, was a sacred duty. It transcended the brutality of battle, the animosity of conflict. He moved among the bodies, his movements now slower, more somber. He knelt, offering a silent prayer, a bow of respect, to each fallen comrade, acknowledging their courage, their sacrifice, their humanity. This was a solemn duty, performed with a quiet dignity that starkly contrasted with the chaos of the battlefield. The snow, stained crimson, served as a silent witness to this act of respectful remembrance. As twilight painted the sky in hues of bruised purple and fading orange, the samurai retreated to the relative shelter of the temple's inner courtyard. The quiet there, while still haunted by the ghosts of battle, offered a semblance of peace. He sat cross-legged on a worn tatami mat, his back against a cool stone pillar. He reached into his bag, this time withdrawing not bandages, but a small, elegant writing brush and a sheet of rice paper. It was a testament to another facet of the samurai's life, often overlooked amidst the tales of bloodshed and glory. Many samurai were surprisingly skilled calligraphers and poets, finding solace and expression in the art of the written word. Their verses often served as poignant reflections on the brutality of war, the ephemeral nature of life, and the quiet beauty that could be found even amidst devastation. He dipped the brush in ink, the black liquid reflecting the flickering candlelight, and began to write. His hand, despite its trembling, moved with practiced grace, forming elegant kanji characters that flowed across the page, weaving a narrative of the day's events. The words, though a testament to hardship and loss, held a certain quiet beauty, a testament to the enduring spirit of the samurai, their ability to find moments of peace and reflection even in the shadow of death. The very existence of this act, this artistic expression amidst the aftermath of brutal combat, adds layers of complexity to the understanding of the samurai warrior. Were these acts of artistic reflection simply a means of processing trauma, or did they represent a deeper connection to a philosophy beyond the demands of military life? This question fuels an ongoing scholarly debate. The influence of Buddhism on the samurai class is a contentious topic among historians. Did the tenets of compassion and peace, so central to Buddhist teachings, truly permeate the samurai ethos, tempering their warrior spirit, fostering a sense of restraint and ethical conduct even in the midst of conflict? Or did the samurai primarily adopt Buddhist practices as a framework for military discipline, a means of instilling order, loyalty, and self-control within their ranks, without necessarily embracing the more pacifistic aspects of the faith? The historical record, fragmented and often contradictory, offers little definitive answer. Evidence suggests a complex interplay between the warrior ethos and Buddhist principles, with the degree of influence varying across time and individual samurai. The interpretation of this historical interaction remains a subject of ongoing research and debate, providing a rich tapestry of interpretations and viewpoints. The samurai finished his poem, the last stroke of the brush completing the final character. He looked at his work, a small yet powerful statement, written in the silence of a snow-covered temple, a testament to both the brutality and the quiet resilience of the samurai soul. The faint candlelight danced across the paper, illuminating the words but also casting long, dramatic shadows that reflected the complexities of the battle and the mysteries of the human heart. He sheathed the brush with care, knowing that the sounds of the coming dawn would signal the beginning of a new day. A new battle, perhaps, but also the possibility of a new moment of peace. The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of wood smoke and something else, something acrid and metallic that clung to the back of my throat. The snow, which had fallen steadily throughout the battle, now lay a pristine yet blood-stained shroud over the village. From the shadowed entrance of the temple, figures emerged, their faces etched with the raw exhaustion and grief that only war could inflict. Pale, drawn faces, some streaked with grime and blood, moved with a slow, deliberate pace, tending to the wounded. A collective sigh, a mixture of relief and profound sorrow, seemed to emanate from the group as they carefully carried the injured towards makeshift shelters constructed from salvaged timbers and woven mats. Whispers, hushed and mournful, drifted on the frigid wind, a testament to the human cost of the conflict. Children, their eyes wide with a terror beyond their years, clung to the skirts of their mothers, their small hands trembling. Leaving the sanctuary of the temple's interior, I stepped into the harsh light of the late afternoon sun. The stark contrast between the warm glow emanating from the temple and the chilling reality outside was almost unbearable. My gaze fell upon a scene that would forever be imprinted on my memory. Scattered across the snow-covered ground lay the bodies of fallen samurai. The pristine white of the snow served only to highlight the gruesome reality of their demise. Stiffened limbs, frozen expressions of pain and surprise etched onto their faces, their once ornate armor now dulled and marred by the brutal violence of the fight. The quiet dignity of death in the face of such carnage was both sobering and strangely beautiful. Each body, a stark reminder of the fragility of life, the fleeting nature of glory, the ultimate surrender to the cold, indifferent hand of fate. The scene was a grim tableau, a silent testament to the brutality of the conflict, a harsh and unforgettable lesson in the ephemeral nature of human existence. The aftermath of the battle was a complex tapestry woven from threads of grief, relief, and the bitter taste of uncertainty. The immediate tasks were straightforward, yet immensely challenging. The wounded needed tending. Their injuries, ranging from minor cuts to grievous wounds, required immediate medical attention. The fallen, both samurai and villagers, needed to be respectfully prepared for burial. The snow, although initially providing some measure of concealment, would soon begin to thaw, necessitating swift action to prevent the spread of disease. Beyond the immediate crisis lay the arduous task of assessing the political consequences of the conflict. Alliances would be reshaped, territories renegotiated, and the balance of power subtly shifted. The future remained uncertain, heavy with the weight of unanswered questions and the potential for further bloodshed. The air vibrated with tension, a palpable sense of anticipation, as the village leaders began to assess the cost of victory or defeat, depending on one's perspective. Beyond the immediate necessities of tending to the wounded and burying the dead lay a different aspect of the aftermath, one more subtle, yet profoundly impactful: I learned that some samurai families meticulously maintained detailed records of their ancestors' exploits, a tradition passed down through generations. These weren't mere lists of battles won or lost. They were meticulously crafted narratives, infused with detail, capturing not only the tactical brilliance of individual samurai, but also their personal struggles, moral dilemmas, and even the quieter moments of their lives. These records, preserved on delicate scrolls and passed down through the family line, served as a living testament to their history and legacy, a source of pride and inspiration for future generations. They offered a fascinating glimpse into the private lives of these warriors, revealing the complexities of their characters and the profound influence of familial duty and lineage. The role of honor and shame in shaping samurai actions remains a subject of considerable scholarly debate. Historians continue to argue over the relative weight of personal codes of conduct versus broader social pressures in driving their decisions. Were the samurai primarily motivated by deeply ingrained personal ideals of Bushido, the way of the warrior, or were their actions heavily influenced by external factors such as familial obligation, clan loyalty, and the fear of societal ostracism? Some scholars emphasize the internal moral compass of individual samurai, highlighting examples of self-sacrifice and unwavering loyalty in the face of overwhelming odds. Others argue that the social pressures inherent in a rigid feudal system played a far more significant role in shaping samurai behavior. The balance between personal honor and the demands of societal expectations remains a complex and nuanced issue, one which continues to fuel debate and scholarly inquiry to this day. The very notion of honor itself, so central to the samurai ethos, is now subject to rigorous re-examination. Was it truly a selfless ideal, or a tool wielded to maintain social order and reinforce power structures? The answers, it seems, are as elusive as the shifting sands of the battlefield itself. The first rays of dawn, a hesitant blush of pink and gold, kissed the snow-covered peak, its jagged silhouette stark against the lightening sky. In the hushed courtyard of the mountain temple, a lone figure sat, motionless as a statue. He was one of the few survivors of the night's brutal battle, his worn hakama, once a proud symbol of his warrior status, now stained and torn, mirroring the devastation within him. His face, etched with fatigue and the grim knowledge of loss, was illuminated by the rising sun, revealing the depth of his suffering. The light also revealed the brutal truth of his survival. Across his arms, chest, and legs, a tapestry of wounds, some still weeping a sluggish crimson, others, scabbed and festering, spoke eloquently of the fury of the night's conflict. Shallow cuts crisscrossed his flesh, like the frantic scratches of a desperate animal. Deeper gashes, stitched with rough thread, left puckered, discolored scars, a grotesque map charting the path of the enemy's blades. These were more than mere injuries, they were permanent inscriptions on his body, grim testaments to a life lived on the edge of a razor's edge, a life that could end as swiftly as a falling star. Each throbbing ache, each stiffening muscle served as a painful reminder of the friends lost, the comrades fallen. He traced a finger across a particularly deep wound on his forearm, a dull ache blooming in its vicinity. The cold air bit at his exposed skin, but he felt nothing, only the hollow ache of survival, the heavy weight of responsibility. He was a survivor, yes, but what kind of victory was this? The victory that left him scarred, burdened by grief, haunted by the ghosts of fallen friends? This was the reality of the samurai's existence, a life of constant peril, of precarious balance between glory and oblivion. Their lives were often short, brutally cut short, by the very sword they wielded with such deadly grace. The battlefield was their natural habitat, a place where death danced with life in a macabre waltz. One moment you tasted victory, the next you were tasting dust. The unpredictability of it all was the samurai's constant companion, a chilling presence that hung over every dawn, every sunset. A fleeting moment of triumph could be quickly erased by the unforgiving blade of fate, a truth mirrored in the fleeting beauty of the rising sun. He remembered the elaborate funerals he had attended, extravagant affairs that reflected the samurai's fierce pride and reverence for death. The gleaming armor, polished until it shone like 1,000 mirrors, laid out like a fallen warrior's last embrace. The swords, each one a testament to a lifetime's dedication to the art of war, were displayed with solemn respect, their edges catching the weak morning light like whispers of a forgotten glory. These were not merely funerals, They were theatrical performances, powerful tributes to those who had fallen bravely in battle. A fallen samurai deserved nothing less. Each weapon, each piece of armor, whispered tales of valor, of victories and defeats, of a life lived with unwavering conviction. But even the memory of such elaborate rituals couldn't quite mask the profound melancholy that settled upon him. He found himself questioning the very essence of their existence. Were these displays of outward glory a mask, hiding an inner turmoil, a silent acknowledgement of the precariousness of life in their relentless world? Were they compensating for the inherent brevity and brutality of their lives? These thoughts swirled around him, as heavy and cold as the snow clinging to the temple roof. The memories of the fallen haunted him, not just their deaths, but the unanswered questions about their lives. The scholarly debates that raged around the lives of the samurai came to mind. Historians still argued about their level of literacy. Were all samurai educated scholars, versed in philosophy, calligraphy, and poetry, as some romanticized accounts suggested? Or was the image of the learned warrior more a privilege reserved for the elite, while the majority were skilled warriors, more concerned with the practicalities of warfare than the intricacies of classic literature? He couldn't answer this question definitively. He himself had been taught to read and write, yet he knew many comrades whose education had been limited to the art of war. Their literacy, if it existed at all, was a functional literacy, allowing them to read orders and write messages. The intricacies of courtly poetry and philosophical treatises were luxuries they simply couldn't afford. This lack of literacy was not a testament to their lack of intelligence, but rather a reflection of the harsh reality of their lives. They were warriors, trained for battle, not the cloistered halls of academia. The question, he mused, was less about the literacy itself and more about the historical biases that often clouded the truth. Was it easier to portray them all as educated scholars, making them appear more cultured and thus more worthy of study? Or did the romanticized image serve a purpose, to perpetuate a myth of the samurai, concealing the harsh truth of their short, often violent lives? The sun climbed higher, casting long shadows across the courtyard. The cold morning air began to thaw slightly. He rose slowly, his movements stiff and deliberate, each step a testament to the wounds he carried, both physical and emotional. The battle was over, the immediate danger had passed, but the scars, both visible and invisible, would remain. A permanent reminder of the night's brutal reality. A silent testament to the fleeting nature of life as a samurai. The pink and gold hues of dawn had faded, replaced by the stark, unforgiving light of a new day. A new day that would demand its own strength, its own courage. And he, despite his wounds and grief, would face it. He had to. The air hangs heavy with the scent of incense, a subtle perfume clinging to the ancient cedar beams. I stand within the temple, a space carved from the very heart of the mountain, and marvel at its intricate beauty. Sunlight filters through the papered windows, illuminating motes of dust dancing in the still air. Each detail, from the meticulously carved dragons entwined around the pillars to the delicate brushstrokes of the paintings adorning the walls, speaks volumes of the skill and unwavering faith of those who built this sacred space centuries ago. The very stones beneath my feet seem to hum with the echoes of countless prayers and rituals performed within these hallowed walls. This is more than just a building. It is a repository of history, a silent witness to the passage of time. I run my fingers along the cool, smooth surface of a centuries-old pillar, imagining the hands that raised it, the sweat that beaded on their brows, the unwavering devotion that fueled their work. This temple, like so many others across Japan, has stood as a beacon of faith, a source of solace, and a symbol of resilience. Its enduring presence is a testament to the enduring spirit of the people who built it, and those who have worshipped within its walls. The whispers of history are everywhere. I envision fierce battles fought just beyond these very walls, the clash of steel, the cries of men, the desperate prayers for survival. Yet this temple stood, a steadfast refuge amidst the chaos, a testament to the enduring power of faith in the face of adversity. Within its protective embrace, countless prayers have been whispered, hopes born, and sorrows soothed. The quiet devotion of generations echoes within these walls, a silent chorus of supplication and gratitude. Generations have sought solace here, finding strength in the face of the inevitable storms of life. The remarkable survival of this temple, and countless others like it, is a powerful narrative in itself. The history of Japan is etched in fire and earthquake. in the relentless advance of armies and the devastating sweep of natural disasters. Many temples, including this one, have been razed to the ground, consumed by flames, or shattered by tremors. Yet, from the ashes, from the rubble, they have risen again, rebuilt with the same unwavering devotion, their presence a testament to the resilience of the Japanese spirit. A phoenix rising from the flames, repeatedly reborn, each reconstruction a testament to the enduring faith that anchors this nation. The very act of rebuilding is an act of faith, a reaffirmation of the values and beliefs that the temple represents. Each time a temple is destroyed, it's not merely a building that is lost, but a symbol, a repository of memory, a focal point of community. The effort to rebuild it is a communal effort, a collective act of remembrance, a demonstration of the unwavering strength of the Japanese people, of their ability to rise above unimaginable hardship and recreate, even reinvigorate, their cultural heritage. The stories woven into the fabric of this temple are as varied as the people who have worshipped here. Some tales speak of sacred objects, legendary swords imbued with supernatural power, ancient scrolls containing cryptic prophecies, or relics imbued with the spiritual essence of powerful deities. These objects, passed down through generations, are imbued with a reverence that transcends their material form. Their presence here, whether real or imagined, bolsters the sense of sacredness that permeates this place. These legendary objects, whispered about in hushed tones, add another layer of intrigue and mystery to the temple's already rich history. They represent the intersection of faith, history, and legend, feeding the stories and myths that have been woven into the cultural tapestry of this place. Beyond the legends and the physical structure, a deeper historical question remains. Scholars continue to debate the complex relationship between religion and the rise to power of the samurai class. Did religious beliefs provide a framework for social order and stability, fostering a sense of duty and loyalty that underpinned the hierarchical structure of feudal Japan? Or did religion serve merely as a convenient tool for justifying violence, ambition, and the consolidation of power by the warrior class? It's a debate that has raged for centuries, fueled by contrasting interpretations of historical texts and the limited surviving evidence. Some argue that Shinto beliefs, with their emphasis on harmony and the natural order, provided a moral compass for the samurai, guiding their actions and promoting a sense of collective responsibility. Others contend that the samurai readily adapted religious narratives to serve their own purposes, using spiritual justifications to legitimize their dominance and violence. The truth, as often happens, is likely a complex interplay of both, a nuanced story where religious belief and political ambition intertwined in a way that continues to fascinate and confound historians today. Standing here, within the hushed sanctuary of this ancient temple, I contemplate these questions. The silence speaks volumes. The stones whisper tales of faith and conflict, of resilience and rebirth. The past intertwines with the present, creating a tapestry rich in both beauty and complexity. The temple stands not just as a testament to the architectural prowess of its builders, but also as a reflection of the enduring strength of the human spirit and the enduring power of faith amidst even the most tumultuous of times. The temple's legacy is not just in stone and wood, but in the stories it holds, in the quiet reverence of those who have sought sanctuary here, and in the ongoing conversation that seeks to unravel its intricate history. The snow crunched underfoot, a rhythmic counterpoint to the howling wind. Leaving Mount Hiei, the biting air no longer felt like a hostile force. Instead, it carried a different resonance, a low, mournful sigh that seemed to emanate from the very mountain itself, a sigh of ancient memory, burdened with the weight of centuries. The wind, I realized, had witnessed it all. The bloodshed, the quiet moments of contemplation, the slow, inexorable shift in the currents of Japanese history. Last night's events still played vividly in my mind, a chaotic tapestry woven from the threads of violence and serenity. The clash between the opposing forces felt less like a battle and more like a tragic opera, a dramatic representation of the enduring human paradox, our capacity for both immense cruelty and profound compassion. The fierce loyalty displayed by the samurai, even in the face of certain death, was a testament to the power of belief, of unwavering commitment to a code, a system, a way of life that was now, perhaps, drawing its final breaths. Yet amidst the carnage, I witnessed acts of kindness, small gestures of mercy that pierced through the fog of war. A shared bowl of rice between enemies, a whispered prayer for a fallen foe. These were the flickers of humanity, stubbornly refusing to be extinguished by the darkness. The memory of the fallen warrior, his face contorted in a grimace of both pain and resignation, lingered. His death, violent and swift, was a symbol of an era itself nearing its end. The samurai, for so long the embodiment of power and authority, were now fading into the historical twilight, their swords slowly giving way to brushes and trowels. The samurai period, that age of constant conflict and shifting alliances, was nearing its conclusion. It was giving way to the Edo period, an era that would, in its own unique manner, etch itself onto the historical canvas. The Edo period, a time of relative peace and stability. That was the official narrative, the accepted version of events. Yet, even the relative tranquility of the Edo period was hard-won. It demanded a shift in mindset, a deliberate restructuring of society, a conscious decision to abandon the sword for the brush, the battlefield for the garden. And it wasn't a simple transition. It was a slow, gradual metamorphosis, a quiet revolution. This brings to mind a peculiar aspect of this transformation, the unexpected flourishing of the arts amongst the samurai class. Many families, their warrior traditions intact, found expression in calligraphy and gardening. The precision and discipline honed through years of swordsmanship found an outlet in the controlled strokes of the brush, in the meticulous shaping of bonsai trees. It was a remarkable transformation. The martial arts, the very essence of combat and destruction, sublimated into aesthetic pursuits, a testament to the adaptability and resourcefulness of the samurai spirit. Their skill in strategy and execution manifested itself in the intricate designs of their gardens, each stone, each plant carefully positioned to reflect a balance, a harmony, mimicking the order they sought to create in a world previously defined by chaos. But how much of this shift was truly organic, a natural consequence of the exhaustion of constant warfare? How much was the result of conscious policies and social engineering implemented by those in power? This is a question that continues to engage historians and scholars. Some argue that the Edo period was an inevitable outcome of the samurai period's internal contradictions. The constant fighting, the instability, the immense human cost. These factors, they suggest, naturally led to a desire for peace and stability. They see the decline of the samurai as a natural consequence of societal evolution. Others, however, point to the deliberate policies and strategic measures implemented during the transition. The consolidation of power, the creation of a centralized government, the rigorous enforcement of social hierarchies. These, they argue, were instrumental in forging the relatively peaceful conditions of the Edo period. They emphasize the role of political will in shaping the destiny of the nation, showcasing a conscious effort to suppress the old warrior ethos and cultivate a new paradigm based on order and stability. It's a debate that underscores the complexity of historical causality, a reminder that change rarely happens in isolation, but is instead a product of a myriad of interacting factors, a confluence of intent and circumstance. Looking back at the snow-covered slopes of Mount Hiei, I find myself pondering these things. The wind continues its mournful song, a testament to the enduring struggle between peace and war, between chaos and order. The silence of the mountains seems to hold the answer, but the answer remains elusive, a mystery woven into the fabric of time itself. The path forward, towards the Edo period and beyond, remains unclear. Yet, within the quiet of the snow-covered landscape, one thing remains undeniable. The enduring spirit of humanity, capable of both immense cruelty and profound compassion, continues to shape the course of history. The samurai may have sheathed their swords, but their spirit, refined and transmuted, lives on. The first tentative warmth of spring arrived like a whispered secret, coaxing the stubborn snow from the mountain's embrace. Day by day, the white blanket receded, revealing the vibrant green beneath a tapestry woven from the resilient grasses and the burgeoning shoots of countless shrubs. Where only a few weeks prior a desolate, icy landscape had reigned, a vibrant palette of colors now erupted. Delicate wildflowers, their petals unfurl in the sun's gentle embrace, painted the slopes in hues of amethyst, sapphire, and gold. These fragile blooms, pushing through the thawing earth, were a testament to the enduring power of life, a defiant bloom against the harsh winter's grip. The mountain, once cloaked in white silence, now hummed with the revitalizing symphony of nature's awakening. The air, sharp with the scent of pine and damp earth, carried the chirping of birds returning to their nests, the buzzing of bees collecting the nectar from the newly opened flowers, and the rustling of small creatures stirring from their winter slumber. Life, in all its vibrant complexity, poured back into the mountain's folds. Even the scars of the recent battles, still visible as pockmarked earth and fractured rock faces, began to soften under the relentless caress of the elements. The deep gashes in the earth gradually filled with new growth, the lush vegetation a tentative healing balm. Yet, the mountain remembered. The silent stones held the echoes of conflict, the whispers of fallen soldiers, the silent sorrow of loss. It held the memory of bloodshed, but it also held the memory of peace, the quiet hope of renewal that bloomed with each passing season. The changing colors of the mountainside, a vibrant dance between destruction and rebirth, mirrored the cyclical nature of life and death itself. This profound interplay between renewal and remembrance resonated deeply within Japanese culture. For centuries, the changing seasons, the delicate blossoms of spring, the vibrant greens of summer, the fiery reds and golds of autumn, and the pristine white of winter have served as an inexhaustible source of inspiration for poets, painters, and writers. The ephemeral beauty of the cherry blossom, the fleeting moment of perfection before the petals fall, has become a potent symbol of the transient nature of life, a constant reminder of its preciousness and its inevitable end. The rhythmic shift of seasons, a cyclical dance played out against the majestic backdrop of mountains and valleys, reflected a profound understanding of life's cyclical nature, a journey of birth, growth, decay, and rebirth, echoing through generations. The haiku, for example, with its concise form mirroring the brevity of the season's beauty, became a powerful tool to encapsulate this understanding. A peculiar aspect of this mountain range is its unique microclimate. The unique geological formations and the altitude create pockets of distinct environments, harboring plants and animals rarely found elsewhere in Japan. The secluded valleys shelter species of rare orchids, while the higher altitudes provide habitat for birds found nowhere else in the archipelago. This astonishing biodiversity within such a relatively small region adds another layer of complexity to the mountain's character, a silent testament to nature's remarkable ability to adapt and thrive. This unique ecosystem underscores the intricate interconnectedness of all living things, adding a dimension of profound ecological understanding to the cultural landscape. Scholars continue to debate the factors that have most significantly shaped Japanese culture. Did the inherent beauty and cyclical rhythms of nature play the dominant role? Or was it the deeply ingrained influence of Shinto and Buddhist philosophies, with their emphasis on the interconnectedness of all things and the acceptance of death as part of life's journey? And what of the feudal social structure, with its rigid hierarchies and its emphasis on tradition and duty? Some argue that the strict social order and the reverence for tradition have been the bedrock of Japanese societal development. Others point to the profound influence of nature, shaping spiritual beliefs and artistic expression for centuries. Still others suggest that it was the harmonious blend of these influences, the interaction between nature, religion, and social structure, that produced the unique and enduring characteristics of Japanese culture. This ongoing scholarly debate underscores the complexity and multifaceted nature of a culture so deeply rooted in the rhythms of the seasons and the landscape. The mountain itself, a silent witness to centuries of change, stands as a powerful symbol of this ongoing dialogue, holding within its slopes both the echoes of past conflicts and the promise of future growth. The passing of seasons continues, a relentless cycle of life, death, and rebirth, mirroring the ongoing evolution of Japanese culture itself. The air hung heavy with the scent of incense and damp earth as I stepped onto the temple grounds. Sunlight, filtered through the ancient cedar trees, dappled the moss-covered stones beneath my feet. My gaze was immediately drawn upwards, to the intricate carvings that adorned the temple buildings. Each structure told a story, etched in weathered stone. The main hall, a majestic example of the Nagare-zukuri asterisk style, with its gently curving roof lines, spoke of a bygone era, its grandeur softened by the patina of centuries. The elaborate wood carvings, depicting scenes from Buddhist mythology, were exquisitely detailed, figures frozen in mid-gesture, their expressions both serene and powerful. The wood itself, darkened with age, seemed almost alive, resonating with the silent whispers of countless prayers and rituals. Moving further into the complex, I noticed a shift in architectural style. A smaller, more austere structure, built in the asterisk daibutsuyo style, stood in stark contrast to the elaborate main hall. Its simple, geometric lines and restrained ornamentation hinted at a later period, perhaps a time of greater frugality, or a deliberate shift in aesthetic preference. The transition between the styles was not abrupt. Instead, a gradual evolution was visible, demonstrating the temple's long and complex history. Near the smaller structure, a weathered stone lantern, its surface worn smooth by the passage of time and countless hands, stood as a silent sentinel, its once vibrant colors faded to a muted palette. The stone itself spoke volumes. The subtle variations in texture and color hinted at the different types of stone used, perhaps sourced from varying locations over different construction phases. The subtle changes in design, from the gentle curves of the earlier buildings to the straighter lines of later additions, spoke clearly of the passage of time and the diverse influences that had shaped the temple's development. Japanese temple architecture, I reflected, is truly unique. Its elegance and sophistication are undeniable, a testament to the skill and artistry of generations of builders. Yet, its uniqueness doesn't stem from isolation. It's a fascinating blend of influences, a testament to Japan's historical engagement with its neighbors. Over the centuries, Korean and Chinese architectural styles, along with indigenous Japanese techniques, have intertwined and evolved, creating a distinct and recognizable style that stands apart in the world of religious architecture. The graceful curves of the roofs, the precise placement of the timbers, the intricate carvings, each element points to a rich history of cultural exchange and adaptation. The extent of these influences, however, remains a subject of scholarly debate. Historians continue to pore over ancient texts and architectural remnants, seeking to unravel the precise origins of different design elements and construction techniques. Was the Tenjin-zukuri asterisk style, with its distinctive stepped gables, primarily influenced by Korean models, or did it evolve independently? How significant was the role of Chinese Buddhism in shaping the overall aesthetic of Japanese temples? These are questions that continue to fuel academic discussion, and every new discovery brings fresh insights into this fascinating area of historical research. One of the most intriguing aspects of some of Japan's older temples is their remarkable resistance to earthquakes. These structures, built centuries ago, have withstood countless tremors that have leveled less resilient buildings. While the precise techniques remain partly shrouded in mystery, evidence suggests that the use of flexible materials, ingenious interlocking joints, and a sophisticated understanding of seismic forces played a critical role in their survival. These ancient builders possessed an intuitive grasp of engineering principles far ahead of their time, enabling them to create structures capable of withstanding nature's fury. Legends whisper of secret techniques passed down through generations of master craftsmen. Techniques that involved specific types of wood, carefully chosen stone, and intricate joinery systems designed to absorb and dissipate seismic energy. While much remains unknown, the enduring presence of these temples stands as a powerful testament to the ingenuity and resilience of their creators. As I continued my exploration, I found myself drawn to a particular section of the grounds, where several weathered stone statues stood, silent witnesses to the temple's long history. Each statue, though eroded by time and the elements, retained a distinct presence, its posture and expression hinting at its original purpose. The details, though softened, still hinted at the skills of the artisans who had created them. The intricacy of the folds in the robes, the subtle play of light and shadow on their faces, all spoke of a dedication to craftsmanship that transcended mere utility. These stone figures were more than mere ornamentation. They served as focal points for prayer, meditation, and reflection, embodying the enduring spirit of the faith they represented. The sun began to dip below the horizon, casting long shadows across the temple grounds. The air grew cooler, and the sounds of the day faded, replaced by the gentle rustling of leaves and the distant chirping of crickets. As I left, the temple remained, a silent monument to the passage of time, a repository of stories carved in stone, a testament to the enduring power of human creativity and the enduring influence of cross-cultural exchange. The mysteries surrounding its construction and the debates among historians only served to deepen its allure, turning a simple visit into a journey into the heart of Japanese history and culture. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the valley in hues of orange and purple. From my vantage point high on the mountain, the scene was breathtakingly peaceful. Fields stretched out like a patchwork quilt, the distant villages tiny clusters of light against the darkening landscape. A gentle breeze rustled through the tall grasses, a whisper against the vast silence of the fading day. Yet a haunting undercurrent ran through this tranquility, a somber echo of the centuries that had unfolded in this very valley. This was the land of the samurai, their legacy etched, not just in stone and steel, but in the very fabric of the landscape itself. The weight of history pressed down on me, heavy and inescapable. I thought of the countless samurai who had walked this land, their lives a tapestry woven with threads of honor, violence, loyalty, and betrayal. Their battles, their triumphs, their defeats, all etched into the very soil beneath my feet. The burden of memory was immense, a vast and echoing chamber filled with the ghosts of warriors past. It was a weight I felt not just intellectually but physically, a deep ache in my chest, a tightening in my throat. The cyclical nature of peace and war, of prosperity and decline, was starkly evident in the historical record. The samurai period, far from being a monolithic era of unwavering martial prowess, was a complex and multifaceted period, shaped by a turbulent interplay of political rivalries, economic shifts, and profound cultural transformations. The rise and fall of powerful clans, the constant jockeying for power, the devastating consequences of internal conflict. These were not simply historical events, but the raw materials from which the enduring legacy of the samurai was forged. It was a legacy stained with blood, yet illuminated by flashes of incredible courage, unwavering loyalty, and a profound dedication to their code of honor, Bushido. Consider the sheer complexity of the period. The rise of the shogunate, the constant struggle between the imperial court and the military elite, the impact of foreign trade, all contributed to a dynamic and ever-changing social and political landscape. The samurai themselves were not a homogeneous group. Their lives were shaped by their particular clan affiliation, their geographic location, and their own personal ambitions. The romanticized image of the unified, stoic warrior, bound by a single code, obscures a reality far more nuanced and often far more brutal. And this brings me to a fascinating and ongoing debate amongst scholars. The very influence of specific samurai clans on Japanese culture and values remains a subject of intense scholarly scrutiny. Did the Tokugawa shogunate, for instance, fundamentally reshape the samurai class, or did they merely solidify existing power structures? Did the Minamoto clan's influence truly define the samurai ethos, or were there other equally significant, though less celebrated, contributions from other lineages? The historical record is rich, yet often fragmented, requiring careful analysis and interpretation. The very act of assigning credit, of identifying the key players who shaped the historical narrative, becomes a fraught endeavor. The answers, it seems, remain elusive, constantly shifting with the emergence of new evidence and the refinement of analytical approaches. Further complicating this historical puzzle is the ongoing debate surrounding the internal divisions within the samurai class itself. Were they, in reality, a unified fighting force, bound by a shared code and a common purpose? Or were they fractured by internal rivalries, by competing ideologies, by regional differences, by the very nature of their family lineages and personal ambitions? The historical evidence suggests the latter. Family feuds, regional conflicts, ideological clashes. These were not aberrations, but rather fundamental aspects of samurai society. The image of a unified warrior class, while powerful in its simplicity, fails to capture the messy, often contradictory reality of life during the samurai period. The very definition of what constituted a samurai shifts depending on the context and the specific historical period under scrutiny. As the last rays of sunlight faded from the valley, leaving behind a star-studded sky, I continued to ponder this complex legacy. The enduring image of the samurai, the unwavering loyalty, the stoic courage, the dedication to honor is undeniable. Yet, the reality was far more nuanced and far more complicated. It was a period of both profound violence and breathtaking cultural achievements, of both unwavering loyalty and bitter betrayal. The weight of that legacy, the burden of that memory, is something that I carry with me still, a reminder of the enduring power of the past and the ever-present cycle of peace and war that has shaped and continues to shape the human condition. The legacy of the samurai, like the setting sun, casts long shadows, its light and darkness inextricably intertwined. The air hung heavy with the scent of incense and aged paper as I unfurled the scroll. It was housed within a lacquered box, nestled amongst silk cushions, its existence a whispered secret within the temple's hushed halls. The silk itself, a delicate cream, felt cool against my fingertips as I carefully eased it open. The painting, breathtaking in its detail, depicted a scene from the samurai age. A lone warrior, silhouetted against the fiery orange of a setting sun, stood amidst a field of freshly bloodied crimson poppies. His katana, gleaming even in the muted light of the temple, was sheathed, but his posture, tense, alert, yet strangely serene, spoke volumes about the recent violence. The brushstrokes were the key. They weren't mere strokes of paint, they were whispers of emotion, perfectly capturing the warrior's complex internal state. The swift, decisive strokes that defined the sword hinted at the swiftness and precision of the samurai's movements in battle. In contrast, the softer, more delicate strokes used to render the poppies conveyed a poignant beauty, a stark contrast to the brutality of the scene. The artist hadn't shied away from depicting the harsh realities of the age. The blood-soaked earth, the starkness of the landscape, all served to amplify the warrior's solitary triumph, or perhaps his quiet grief. The sheer skill of the artist was undeniable. It was evident in the way the brushstrokes flowed, expressing both the grace and the power inherent in the samurai ethos. It was a testament to the ability of art to transcend mere representation and become a vessel for profound emotional expression. This scroll, and countless others like it, serve as a compelling illustration of a central fact about Japanese art, its deep connection to the cultural values and aesthetic sensibilities of its time. Whether it's the precise lines of calligraphy, the delicate washes of ink in a landscape painting, or the dramatic flourishes of a warrior scene, Japanese art almost always reflects the dominant cultural currents. The samurai code, with its emphasis on honor, discipline, and self-control, finds its expression not only in the historical records, but also in the artistic depictions of the era. The aesthetic of *wabi-sabi, finding beauty in imperfection and transience, is mirrored in the subtle irregularities and subtle aging of traditional Japanese art forms. The very materials, the carefully chosen paper, the meticulously prepared inks, the delicate silks, were themselves reflections of deeply held cultural values. The art was not merely decorative, it was an integral part of the cultural fabric, reflecting and shaping the understanding of beauty, virtue, and the human condition. But the scrolls weren't solely dedicated to showcasing heroic narratives and idealized representations of the samurai life. That's the quirky fact that adds another layer of complexity to our understanding. Many scrolls, upon closer examination, reveal a surprising attention to detail, incorporating everyday moments, seemingly mundane occurrences within the broader narrative of war and conflict. One scroll I studied earlier depicted a samurai meticulously sharpening his sword, his face etched with concentration, rather than the expected image of him battling an enemy. Another showed a group of samurai sharing a quiet meal, their faces relaxed and conversational, a poignant contrast to the usual portrayal of their martial prowess. These seemingly minor scenes add depth and humanity to the broader narratives, reminding us that even the most formidable warriors lived ordinary lives, experienced moments of peace and quiet amid the chaos of war. These mundane elements provide a crucial counterpoint to the romanticized ideals, offering a more nuanced and realistic understanding of the samurai experience. However, the interpretation of Japanese art, particularly its relationship with spirituality, remains a topic of scholarly debate. Historians and art critics continue to grapple with the question of the degree to which particular spiritual practices, such as Zen Buddhism or Shinto, influenced the aesthetic sensibility of Japanese artists. Was there a unique relationship between the development of aesthetic values and the spiritual experiences of the artists and their patrons? Some argue that the emphasis on simplicity, naturalism, and the appreciation of impermanence in certain artistic styles reflects the core tenets of Zen Buddhism, with its emphasis on mindfulness and the acceptance of transience. Others counter that while spiritual beliefs might have provided a context or inspiration, the aesthetic principles underlying Japanese art were ultimately rooted in independent aesthetic traditions, evolving over centuries through a process of refinement and innovation. This debate isn't merely an academic exercise. It impacts our understanding of the cultural significance of Japanese art and its enduring power to resonate with audiences across centuries. The scroll before me, with its subtle blend of violence and beauty, seems to whisper of this ongoing dialogue, its artistic power hinting at deeper spiritual underpinnings, while simultaneously standing as a testament to the remarkable skill of its creator. The question, it seems, remains open, a challenge to those of us who seek to unravel the intricate threads of this rich and multifaceted cultural legacy. The rustling of silk against worn tatami mats, the scent of cherry blossoms battling the metallic tang of blood, these are the images conjured by the passage I read from a classical Japanese text, a glimpse into the heart of the samurai age. The narrative follows a lone warrior, his face etched with the weariness of countless battles, yet his eyes still burning with an unwavering resolve. The author masterfully captures the brutal reality of the period. The swift, decisive strokes of the katana, the screams swallowed by the wind, the cold certainty of death hanging heavy in the air. But amidst the carnage, a profound humanity shines through. We see the warrior's quiet moments of reflection, his longing for peace, his unwavering loyalty to his lord, and the deep, unspoken bond with his fellow samurai. It's a stark portrayal of a life lived on the razor's edge, a testament to the resilience and inner strength demanded by the era. The passage reveals not simply the violence, but the complex emotional landscape of a society shaped by constant conflict. It's a humanity that resonates powerfully, even across centuries. This excerpt is a powerful reminder of the writer's skill in navigating the fine line between the epic and the intimate, the brutal and the beautiful, which is so characteristic of the literature of the time. This ability to depict such a nuanced portrayal of the human spirit within a backdrop of unrelenting conflict is central to the unique style developed in Japanese literature during the samurai period. The prevailing values of honor, loyalty, and stoicism profoundly shaped the narratives produced. Stories often centered on the unwavering commitment of the samurai to their code of conduct, Bushido, their unyielding loyalty to their daimyo, and their willingness to face death with dignity and composure. These values weren't simply abstract ideals. They were manifested in the very structure and style of the literature itself, concise, direct, and emotionally resonant. The brevity of many forms, the focus on action and consequence, and the evocative use of imagery all contributed to the power of these narratives. The emphasis wasn't just on recounting events. It was about conveying the internal struggles and moral complexities of individuals facing extraordinary pressures, individuals forced to reconcile their personal desires with the rigid demands of their social roles. This combination of outward action and inner turmoil made for a uniquely compelling literary landscape. Adding to the rich tapestry of Japanese literature of this period is the intriguing element of oral transmission. Some of the most captivating stories, filled with fantastical elements and deeply ingrained cultural symbolism, were passed down through generations via oral storytelling before finally being committed to writing. This process of oral transmission profoundly influenced the narratives themselves, often adding layers of mystery and ambiguity. Details might shift slightly with each retelling, adding an element of fluidity and evolution to the stories. This is not to suggest that oral tradition disregarded accuracy, but it suggests that a different kind of fidelity operated, one that valued the continuity of meaning and emotional impact over the strict preservation of verbatim details. This oral history approach imbues these narratives with a certain weight and significance, almost a sacred quality derived from their long and winding journey from spoken word to written text. It lends a unique aura to these tales, marking them as something more than mere fiction. They become living artifacts carrying the echoes of centuries of shared experiences. Despite the wealth of fascinating literature from this period, scholarly debate continues to rage over the relative influence of different literary genres. Did the grand epics, recounting the deeds of legendary heroes and momentous battles, hold the most sway over shaping cultural values? Or did the shorter forms of poetry, haiku and tanka for instance, with their ability to encapsulate profound emotions within tightly constrained forms, play a more crucial role in disseminating ideals and shaping public sentiment? And what of the prose narratives, often told in the first person, offering intimate perspectives on everyday life and the impact of the constant threat of violence? Each genre undoubtedly had its own contribution to make in shaping the literary landscape of the samurai period. The epics provided models of heroic conduct and shaped national myths, while the shorter forms emphasized emotional depth and philosophical reflection, and the prose narratives offered a grounded human element in a world dominated by the drama of war. The difficulty of definitively measuring the influence of each genre, considering the limited surviving texts and the challenges of interpreting historical contexts, is what fuels this persistent academic debate. The question of which genre held ultimate sway is not just a matter of literary analysis. It speaks to the complexities of understanding the cultural and societal impact of art itself. The heavy wooden doors of the temple groaned shut behind me, the sound swallowed by the vast, echoing silence of the mountain. The setting sun bled across the snow-covered landscape, painting the peaks in fiery hues of orange and crimson, before surrendering to the encroaching twilight. Long shadows stretched and writhed like spectral figures across the pristine white, mimicking the silent dance of the wind as it howled softly through the crags and crevices. It carried with it a whispering chorus, a sibilant murmur of ancient tales, a breath of history itself. As I descended the mountain path, the lingering chill seeped into my bones, a stark contrast to the warmth I felt within the temple just moments before. The air was thin, crisp, carrying the scent of pine and the faint metallic tang of blood, a ghostly echo of battles long past. It was a potent reminder of the enduring power of myth and legend, of the stories etched into the very fabric of this landscape. These weren't just narratives, they were the very breath of the mountain, the pulse of the land itself. The stories whispered by the wind weren't confined to this remote location. They resonated across centuries, across oceans, echoing in the works of countless artists, writers, and filmmakers. The samurai period, a time of both brutal conflict and breathtaking artistry, continues to grip the imagination. Its tales of unwavering loyalty, fierce honor, and devastating betrayal have become woven into the cultural tapestry of Japan and indeed the world. The image of the stoic warrior, blade gleaming in the sun, remains a powerful symbol, a potent distillation of a complex era. From the meticulously crafted katana to the stark beauty of traditional paintings depicting epic battles, the legacy of the samurai lives on, vibrant and compelling. Even today, the stories continue to inspire, to challenge, and to provoke thought. We see echoes of their codes of conduct, their unwavering devotion, their struggles with honor and morality, in countless contemporary works, a testament to the enduring power of these narratives. Think of the countless films depicting legendary samurai duels, the intricate plots and betrayals meticulously woven into the narrative. Think of the novels that delve deep into the psychology of the warriors, exploring the internal conflicts that raged alongside the external battles. Think of the paintings and prints that capture the breathtaking beauty and deadly precision of their movements, translating the silent language of the sword into visual poetry. Each interpretation, each retelling, adds another layer to the already rich tapestry of the samurai legend, enriching our understanding of a pivotal period in Japanese history. But the stories themselves are not without their complexities. The narratives, passed down through generations, often bear the weight of the biases and perspectives of those who originally penned them. And this brings us to a crucial point, a scholarly debate that continues to this day. How much should we trust the accounts left to us by those who lived through these tumultuous times? How much of their writing reflects objective truth? And how much is shaped by their own beliefs, their own experiences, their own agendas? This question is not merely academic. It underlies our understanding of the entire period. Unraveling the truth from the layers of legend is a painstaking process. Scholars painstakingly pore over ancient texts, some barely legible after centuries of exposure to the elements. The effort to uncover and translate these ancient Japanese texts is a monumental task, a painstaking journey through time. It's a fascinating, quirky aspect of historical research. These dedicated individuals, armed with nothing more than their intellect and an insatiable curiosity, labor tirelessly to piece together the fragments of a past shrouded in mystery. Each newly translated scroll, each newly deciphered inscription, brings us closer to a more complete, more nuanced understanding of the samurai era. It adds crucial context to the familiar narratives, challenging preconceived notions and broadening the scope of our interpretation. This process of discovery, however, is far from straightforward. The interpretation of these ancient texts is a source of ongoing debate among historians. Different scholars, approaching the same source materials with different theoretical frameworks and biases, often arrive at vastly different conclusions. Some argue for a more literal interpretation, striving to uncover the facts embedded within the accounts. Others embrace a more contextual approach, recognizing the influence of cultural norms, social structures, and the inherent biases of the writers. This divergence of opinion is not necessarily a weakness. Rather, it highlights the inherent complexity of historical interpretation, reminding us that the past is not a fixed entity, but a continually evolving narrative, constantly being reshaped by new discoveries and fresh perspectives. The wind picked up again, whipping snow into a swirling vortex around me. As I continued my descent, the temple, now a distant silhouette against the darkening sky, seemed to shrink, becoming part of the very landscape itself. The stories, however, remained as potent and evocative as the wind that carried their whispers. The enduring myth of the samurai, a potent blend of fact and legend, continues to shape our understanding of the past and, in turn, informs our experience of the present. The ongoing scholarly efforts to uncover and interpret their history only serve to deepen the mystery and enrich the narrative. reminding us that even the most well-trodden paths hold secrets yet to be revealed. The journey of understanding, like the mountain itself, is a continuous ascent, challenging and rewarding in equal measure. The wind whipped at my cloak, carrying the scent of pine and damp earth. Below, spread out like a crumpled tapestry, lay the world beyond the mountain pass. For months, I had been immersed in the samurai period, climbing the arduous slopes of history, each step revealing a new facet of their lives, their struggles, and their triumphs. Now, from this vantage point, I could finally assess the landscape, comparing the distant peaks and valleys of their era to the complexities of our own. The similarities were striking. The relentless cycle of conflict that defined so much of the samurai period, the clan wars, the battles for dominance, the constant threat of violence, finds its echo in the modern world. Though the weapons have changed, the underlying motivations often remain the same. Ambition, the thirst for power, the desire to control resources, and the enduring human capacity for self-destruction. The relentless pursuit of glory, a driving force for many samurai, mirrors the modern obsession with success, often at the cost of ethical considerations or genuine human connection. The constant struggle for influence within a hierarchical society, a hallmark of feudal Japan, persists in the power dynamics of modern corporations, governments, and even families. The human desire to climb the social ladder to secure a legacy has evidently spanned centuries. The search for meaning, so evident in the writings and actions of the samurai, remains a central theme in our contemporary lives. The Bushido Code, with its emphasis on honor, loyalty, and self-sacrifice, offers a stark contrast to the often cynical nature of the modern world, yet its core principles continue to resonate. The unwavering loyalty to one's lord, even unto death, though perhaps extreme by modern standards, speaks to a profound need for belonging and purpose, a yearning that continues to drive individuals today, whether it be through dedication to a cause, a community, or a loved one. The samurai's meticulous attention to detail in their martial arts and their unwavering commitment to self-improvement, their relentless pursuit of mastery, reflects a similar dedication to excellence that we strive for in various aspects of our own lives. Many aspects of the samurai period, therefore, continue to resonate with us today. The enduring themes of honor, loyalty, and conflict are as relevant now as they were centuries ago. The stories of courage, betrayal, and sacrifice, the triumphs and tragedies of individuals caught in the maelstrom of their time, offer valuable lessons that transcend historical context. We can learn from their mistakes, admire their strengths, and ponder the choices they made in the face of immense pressure. We see reflections of their internal struggles within our own contemporary conflicts, whether they are personal, social, or geopolitical. The constant push and pull between individual ambition and collective good remains a central tension in the human experience, as it was in the time of the samurai. However, understanding the samurai period is not without its challenges. A quirky yet fascinating aspect of this ongoing historical engagement lies in the efforts to recreate samurai weaponry and armor using traditional techniques. These meticulous reconstructions, often undertaken by skilled artisans, offer a tangible link to the past, allowing us to appreciate the craftsmanship and artistry involved in creating these iconic artifacts. Beyond the aesthetic value, they provide valuable insights into the technology and materials used by the samurai, offering a deeper understanding of their military capabilities and societal structure. Yet, the very act of interpreting the past is a subject of ongoing scholarly debate. Historians continually grapple with the challenges of studying the samurai period. How much can we truly understand about a culture so profoundly different from our own? How can we avoid imposing our own biases and assumptions onto the past? What methods best allow us to interpret the surviving evidence, the written accounts, the artwork, the archaeological finds to paint an accurate and nuanced picture of samurai life? The questions of historical methodology are crucial, influencing our interpretation of the past and its relevance to the present. How much can we learn about ourselves from studying a culture so seemingly distant? This is a debate that will likely continue for generations to come, pushing historians to refine their methods and broaden their perspectives. The more we understand the complexities of historical interpretation, the richer and more complete our understanding of both the samurai period and ourselves becomes. The descent from the mountain was as gradual as the ascent. But the journey through the samurai period, though now concluded, leaves an enduring impression. It's not just a story of swords and battles, but a narrative that speaks to the enduring human condition, our desires, our fears, our capacity for both great cruelty and extraordinary compassion. The lessons learned from studying the samurai remain relevant, serving as a constant reminder of the recurring themes in human history and the continuous search for meaning in a complex and often unpredictable world. The echo of their swords resonates still, not as a call to arms, but as a reflection on the enduring human experience. The biting wind whipped at my cloak as I descended from Mount Hiei, the snow-covered peak shrinking behind me, a jagged silhouette against the fading light. The air, thin and crisp at the summit, grew heavier with the descent, clinging to my clothes like the lingering scent of incense from the ancient temples I'd visited. My journey into the heart of ancient Japan, a pilgrimage both physical and spiritual, was at an end, at least for now. It had been a haunting experience, a descent into the silent, snow-laden forests, a communion with the spirits of centuries past. Yet, paradoxically, a strange peace settled over me, a quietude born from confronting the raw, elemental power of nature and the enduring weight of history. The silence of the mountain echoed the quiet contemplation that now filled me. My thoughts drifted to the hero's journey, a narrative structure so deeply ingrained in the human psyche it transcends cultures and epochs. The struggles of the samurai, their unwavering code of Bushido, their relentless pursuit of self-improvement and mastery, these resonated powerfully with the archetypal hero's path. Their tales, etched in the very fabric of Japanese history and culture, are a testament to the enduring human spirit, its capacity for both profound cruelty and astonishing grace. They face down demons both literal and metaphorical, mirroring the trials of Heracles himself, a figure whose legendary struggles have influenced storytelling across millennia. Heracles, that quintessential hero, battling mythical beasts and conquering impossible odds, his journey, like that of countless others throughout history, follows a familiar pattern. A call to adventure, a descent into the unknown, trials that test the limits of physical and mental endurance, a confrontation with a powerful antagonist, a triumphant return, and finally, a transformation of the hero. This narrative structure is not confined to Greek mythology. It echoes in the epic poems of Gilgamesh, in the tales of King Arthur, and in the samurai legends I had spent the last days immersing myself in. It's a pattern that speaks to something deep within us, a recognition of the struggles we all face, the battles we all must fight, both external and internal. The samurai, with their rigorous training and unwavering loyalty, embody many of the characteristics of the heroic archetype. Their journey was a constant striving for excellence, a relentless pursuit of self-mastery in the face of often brutal realities. They were warriors, yes, but their path was not merely about physical prowess. It involved a profound spiritual discipline, a constant refinement of character, and an unwavering dedication to a higher purpose. Their stories are powerful reminders of the sacrifices and challenges required for personal growth and the betterment of society. The parallels between their experiences and the classic hero's journey, as defined by Joseph Campbell, are strikingly evident. The question arises then, how best do we understand the human condition? What lens provides the clearest insight into the complexities of human experience? Historians meticulously piece together the fragments of the past, trying to reconstruct the lives and motivations of those who came before. Psychologists delve into the intricacies of the human mind, seeking to unravel the mysteries of behavior and emotion. Yet, the answer remains elusive, a subject of ongoing scholarly debate. Perhaps the truest understanding lies not in a single discipline, but in a synthesis of perspectives, a weaving together of historical context, psychological insights, and the enduring power of narrative. Perhaps the hero's journey, in its diverse manifestations across cultures and time periods, offers a powerful framework for comprehending the human condition in all its grandeur and complexity. The experience on Mount Hiei has been like a meditation on this very theme. The stark beauty of the mountain, the weight of history, the silent contemplation, all serve to highlight the enduring relevance of the hero's journey, not just as a narrative structure, but as a reflection of the ongoing human struggle for meaning and purpose. The stories of Heracles, echoing through centuries, have indelibly shaped the way we tell stories, the way we understand heroism, and the way we interpret our own lives and challenges. The quirky fact that these stories continue to resonate is a testament to the power of archetypes and their ability to tap into our deepest aspirations and fears. It's been a long journey, both for Heracles grappling with his 12 labors, and for me tonight, grappling with the weight of centuries and the enduring questions of the human spirit. Rest now. The snow falls gently, a soft hush over the mountain, a blanket of peace upon the sleeping world.